So as much as Kelly does my thing, why should we have trees? Well, we need them because they give off oxygen and they're taking in carbon dioxide. Everybody's saying, well, what do we do about the carbon problem? Well, you plant more trees because those trees will help make things better. So I want to make sure that you know that. We want to tell you, of course, to stay with us as the Plant Talk and Real Estate Talk continues right here on News Radio. I should say 860, The Answer. Web and ask MrGreenThumb.com. At Dream It Real Estate, we're a different kind of real estate company. We embolden our clients to dream their biggest dreams and partner with us to make those dreams come true. Our emphasis is on team building with clients who become friends for a lifetime. For more information, please go to dreamitrealestate.co or call or text James DeFreitas at 727-254-7127. Dream It Real Estate is always encouraging our clients to dream big with us today.
Why choose Stafford Tree Service? Is it because they're experienced, have the latest equipment, and friendly professional personnel? Absolutely. Stafford's positioned themselves as a leading tree trimming company in all of Tampa Bay. With honest professionals and competitive pricing, they'll earn your trust too. In business for over 15 years, Stafford Tree Service is licensed, bonded, and insured to provide you the very best tree trimming experience. Call today, 727-546-8786, 727-546-8786. On the web at staffordtreesvc.com.
Biophilia, our innate attraction to other living things. It's why people love plants. And around Tampa Bay, Plants,
show, folks.
Plantz, is bringing nature inside in workspaces and homes by delivering beautiful foliage plants. Our plants increase oxygen and filter out pollutants, reducing stress and improving productivity, and get you in touch with your biophilic side. Go to plantz.us.
Get ready for International Diamond Center's biggest ever designer bridal event, featuring the entire collections from the nation's top 2 designers. Tacori and Verragio come together on the IDC stage next weekend, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. See hundreds of new spectacular rings and get 36 months zero interest financing. See the entire collection from Tacori, exquisite handcrafted rings from true artisans in California. And coming in from New York, see all the latest from Verragio, unique, distinctive, and personalized. Find the ring of your dreams and enjoy 3 years, zero interest financing. Plus, at this event, when you buy any Tacori or Verragio ring, IDC will give you a $500 gift card. Buy the matching wedding band and get a $1,000 gift card. Don't miss this remarkable opportunity to see and compare the world's top 2 ring designers side by side. And let IDC's experts help you match up the most perfect diamond for the ring you fall in love with. Don't miss this unprecedented event next weekend, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, exclusively at International Diamond Center in Tampa, Clearwater, Lakeland, and Sarasota. Approved credit.
The following program was pre-recorded for broadcast at this time.
Welcome back to the Ask Mr. Green Thumb and Real Estate Show. Got questions about perennial flowers? What about issues with closing on your newest property? Give them a call at 727-254-7127. That's 727-254-7127. And now your hosts, Stan and James DeFreitas.
And we were talking to you about, an incident that I remember, and that was one of my buddies who was a sergeant in the Clearwater Police was telling me a story about he was in Manatee County and as a police officer.
I'd like to say this.
Tried to break up domestic at a bar, and the guy hit him with a cue.
Whoa, what was that? Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Oh, I see what's happening. Call out. See, I hear something in the background, so he can't hear us. That's the problem. Yeah. Yeah. Smartest guy I know, tell you that.
He is sharp, sharp, sharp. Actually, like Marcus on because he's also a sharp, sharp guy. Uh, is chiropractor, but you say well, chiropractor still one of the smartest men I've ever come across in a great martial artist. We just learned recently that our sensei, Frank Morgan, was hacked that I didn't get to know about it until the other day. He died sometime. And
Good morning. Ken?
pretty good. Best guy to clean out. Yes, if you get a nice pumpkin spiced ice latte, tenants fall, but it's still 90 degrees out there. It does seem like days are starting to change. That will change our temperature. I guess what I'll do sometime. Charity, something.
Yeah, I'm feeling all guilty here now.
So, I mean, severely.
No, I don't think it's their fault. No, it's something going on between me and our other producers here.
Oh,
Yeah. We'll be paying for it, but not you. Don't
yeah,
worry about
well, yeah, you say, right. Well, that would be really a serious problem. But my book, Standard Races, we are talking about putting that into a paperback form. I've always resisted that because I liked the hardback book that we had, and we sold 500,000 copies. So we did something right. Had some great 300 color prints in the book. I still have a few of my old ones, which when they're going to come out in paperback, it'd be cheaper. I don't think it's pretty, but we'll see if we do. If not, maybe I'll self-publish something on my own. Sure, it doesn't get off center. We can do that. I probably should because that's where the money is.
Right, exactly. That's many rock and roll bands have found that out the hard way.
Famous. Make sure the soil is acidic. Resistance. Like making a pH test. In fact, I did some pH test. Some soil samples. I said, hey, so $81 per sample, and I'll do these testing. We tested it. Her pH was 2. It was too much on the And so I know you're getting ready for good adoption.
Yeah, I gotta take off here and you. Yeah, they came and they left. Yeah. I think that was who we were talking to there. Yeah.
Because, things are, I will say that I've enjoyed being here at AM 860 most of the time.
Well, I've enjoyed working with you, Stan, on our quarterly, monthly, whatever we do here live.
ASKMR, green and then thumb. That's ASKM, green and then thumb. You'll see some of our past podcasts. We can actually do a bunch. Got down to our 2-minute warning. All right. And so we're going out right about 59, I'm imagining. Point to me. And that will work. It reminds me of the old days.
Taking cues from hand. Yeah.
When I was at PLP, I pulled up the city, like St. Pete, and the number of the calls. And it was by CD pants casting. That's we didn't have computer screens back then. I mean, I guess people like computers, but radio would not work. Using the old system and stuff. You know, where you splice tape and put tape together. I bet you did one of that kind.
Oh, a ton of that.
And,
Yeah.
I used to ice my shows down to a station in Sarasota, WUSA. It's another station that I was on down there for a good long time. And we also, of course, were doing some TV down in the area of one of the NBC affiliates down by Naples. Did that for some time too. Okay. Well, let me just say it's been real fun to be with you. I hope that you go to the Ask Mr. Green Thumb site, askmrgreenthumb.com, and you can still send me pictures, which you have in the past. You'll send me questions. If you're looking for selling a house, Dreamer Real Estate will be there for you. And of course, that would be my son and myself. And as you know, as I used to always say, my good buddy Ted Webb, Henry Ruiz used to say, go out and live it up. And I'm going to continue a little longer. How much? We're at 59. How far down 59 are we going? Anyway, okay, you'll tell me when you want me to go out. Just give me a point there. And Ken, say hey to Dr. Bill for me.
Stan.
Dr. Bill, tell him I always enjoy his humor and his, you know, he should have been a history professor, except they don't make any money.
But they have tenures usually, so you know.
Thank you for being with us.
It's been a pleasure working with you, Stan.
Yeah.
Seeking an order that would restrict the former president from what it called inflammatory and intimidating comments about witnesses, lawyers, and the judge. Prosecutors said that such a narrow, well-defined order was necessary to preserve the integrity of the case and to avoid prejudicing potential jurors. A Trump spokesperson said prosecutors are attempting to deprive Trump of his First Amendment rights. Greg Clugston, Washington.
European regulators have slapped TikTok with a nearly $400 million fine for failing to protect children's privacy. It's the first time the popular short video sharing app has been punished under new European rules. This is SRN News. Kansas says you are what you were at birth.
No changes to people's birth certificates. The state health department's announcement Friday cited a new law that prevents the state from legally recognizing so-called gender identity. The State Department of Health and Environment's decision makes Kansas one of a handful of states that won't alter birth certificates. It already was among the few states that don't change the gender marker on people's driver's licenses. Those policies reverse previous ones set by Democratic Governor Laura Kelly's administration, in response to court filings by conservative Republican State Attorney General Chris Kobach.
You there?
Keith Peters reporting.
About 25% of Americans are non-religious.
Hear me there,
and
Mark?
Democrats would like to organize them into a voting bloc, but it's not going.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you even before then. I could hear you through the news. I'm Dr.
All right, we're good.
Getting ready to do a show here, and we're streaming live, buddy boy. So no cursing.
Listen, if you can't hear the music today, just wait till I talk to you, and then we'll go.
Yes, sir. I got a little upbeat song there today. Can you turn the feed back on?
It's America.
The following program is sponsored by Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic.
The latest from AccuWeather at the top and bottom of the hour, only on AM 860, The Answer.
Intervals of clouds and sun today with widely separated thunderstorms. It'll be humid with a high of 89. Patchy clouds tonight, a thunderstorm in a couple of spots, low 79. Clouds and sun tomorrow with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, mainly later. Tomorrow's high 93. Get your weather news when and how you want it, wherever you are. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Drew Shannon for AM 860, The Answer.
Go, Doc.
And I'm on. This is Dr. Bill, your radio MD. We had a little bit of music there. It sounded a little weird, Ken, but I guess it came out okay at your end. What'd you do to the board this week, dude?
No, it's fine. It sounded good here. Just a little loud, I think.
Oh, okay. Might have been just my reception. At any rate, I am Dr. Bill. I got Ken by my side, and we're doing a radio show this morning. Got a lot of things to go over. It's been a busy week and a lot of questions and concerns with this GM, Chrysler, United Auto Workers strike. Ford's in on it too, I guess.
Why not?
And you know, Ken, what they're asking for is, at least it seems to the outsiders, that it's a lot of money, and we'll go over that a little bit. But you know, the actual income of American homes has dropped 4.7% since its peak in 2019. Now, some of that I'm sure is due to the pandemic, but a lot of it is due to inflation. This is inflation adjusted median household incomes, because as you know, the wage base has gone up, but the inflationary rate has gone up higher than the wage rate has gone up. So we got a mess. And it's not good for the Democrats. And, you know, they become the party of the elite, of the left-wing elite. And they used to be the party of the people. Now it looks like Trump's more the party of the people. Go figure that out, dude.
He speaks the people's language.
And he speaks what the people are thinking. And so that's a unique situation there. And so who's the real winner and loser in this GM strike? Who do you think?
Oh, man. They're not going to get their 40%. That's never going to happen.
I'll let you go first. So you think they're not going to come out of it that great?
Not really.
I'll tell you who I think the real winner is.
Who's
Elon
that?
Musk.
Elon, yes.
And Tesla. You know,
That's right.
His sales, well, if they decrease the production of their cars, and of course it's going to hurt their electric vehicles, Ford and GM and Chrysler, because that's where they're putting a lot of their effort into. If they get hurt there, then Elon's going to sell more Teslas, and he's better positioned to go into a price war with them. And he has around the globe. He's come down, and he tells everybody he's coming down 50% on the next generation of his Teslas. Can you believe that? 50%.
50%. That's incredible.
That's incredible. And
it'll be like the Model A.
Yeah, and I think that that's really what he wants to be. He wants to be the Henry Ford of the 21st century.
Well, if he can bring the price down 50 cents, he'll do it.
Oh, yeah. And the estimates that the average hourly wage in Detroit is $66 an hour, according to industry data. And that compares with $45 at Tesla, which isn't unionized and wasn't even alive 20 years ago. So meeting all of the union's demands would push the average hourly wage cost to $136 for Detroit companies, Wells Fargo estimates. $136, Ken. I mean, that's double the price. So what's going to happen to the price of cars that are made domestically?
They're going to go way up. Yeah,
they're
way
going
up.
to go up. And what's going to happen to sales?
Go way down. They're all going to be driving Teslas.
And so where are the jobs going to go? They're going out of the country.
But yeah.
I mean, this is craziness. This is just craziness. These left-wing loonies, they say, well, we want to bring jobs home. No, they don't. They want to destroy jobs. They want to destroy us. And
I don't think they're not going to get their 40%, but I think it'll be interesting because I don't think we've had a major automaker strike during the Tesla era, have we? So this will be the first.
I thought we had one back in the teens, but I can't remember. Maybe it wasn't that major.
Well, I got a phone call coming in. Hang on, Doc.
Okay. Meanwhile, while we're waiting for that phone call, Fain, who is the president of the United Auto Workers, he's the union guy, and they have 146,000 auto workers in that union. By the way, all union members have dropped over the past 20, 30 years. And at any rate, he says that when people say, well, look, you got all this competition from Tesla and from Elon Musk, and he says, competition's just a way to drive us into the ground. So I guess that not only are we not male or female, but we're not supposed to be competitive either. And I think we've been seeing this going on for a long, long time. And Ford Motor, I saw the president of Ford Motor and the president of GM on TV, and they were both wringing their hands. Now, can they absorb this cost? Well, the auto industry is very heavily debt laden, and this is part of the problem that they got into back in the 2008, 9, 10 recession, when they had the big reorganization of GM and Chrysler, and they ended up dumping a lot of their debt by giving the bondholders, preferred stockholders, 50 cents on the dollar.
Well, we got a caller who'd like to chime in on the subject, if you don't mind.
Who is it?
Well, let's find out.
All
right. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. It's Ian in Clearwater.
Clearwater. Okay. What do you want to talk about the union thing here?
There's going to be a bunch of losers and winners. I'll just go through 3 or 4 and then go away. It's going to be China and third world countries because production's going to shift even more overseas. And it's going to be robots and automation for the remainders that stays in the U.S. And it might even be some southern states, so-called red states where there's no unions and right to work laws. But ultimately, they're going to lose up there in those blue states because the production's you can't pay auto workers $45 to $67 an hour. Something's got to break. So production's just going to go away if I'm up there, and it's going to be like water. It's going to find its level, and it's going to go elsewhere.
Well, thanks for chiming in on that.
No problem. Thanks.
Ken, the recession in the late 70s, early 80s, 80% of the industrial jobs lost in the United States, in the various states, 80% were in New York. They moved to foreign countries or they moved south. Did you know that? 80%. 80%.
Yeah, it's been happening for decades and decades. Yeah.
I mean, it's really kind of sad. Now, as far as the robotics go and the production of electric cars, it takes a lot less people to make an electric vehicle because there's not as many moving parts in them. And you don't have a motor that has to have 15 or 20 subcontractors sending parts in, like carburetors and water pumps and AC units and all that. So that's going to drop tremendously the number of workers it takes. And of course, with robotics, you can eliminate a lot more workers that way. So if we can automate, And even though it will take jobs away from these people who are in the United Auto Workers Union, it will certainly be one way to keep production here at home by using our vast wealth of knowledge and technology. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. And people can be retrained to do other things. There'll be plenty of things to do. You know, computers were going to replace all of us. They haven't. They've only created more jobs. And I don't think that AI is going to replace us. I don't see that coming. And I certainly don't see robots replacing us completely. But I think that they will enhance the productivity of the country if they're properly applied. So
what about AI controlled robots?
Well, I mean, somebody's still going to have to write the programming and oversee. And look at the computers. If the computers are going to do everything, they can't do anything without 20 guys and gals sitting there tapping away at a keyboard. I mean, they just can't. We had our X-ray reader go down. We've got, as you know, we have a digital X-ray reader in the office, so we can take a regular old X-ray with X-rays, but the reader now, it's not a piece of film that you dunk in some solution. It's a big, like a big disk drive or a big CD, and you stick it in there and it reads it and it pops up on the computer. And we lost all of that. And guess what? We had to have a guy come out from GE and fix it. And then I said, look, can you push this to my desk so I don't have to walk all the way back here to the other end of the office to see an X-ray when I'm busy? And he said he didn't know how to do that, but he's got a friend that does. So, I mean, it's the jobs are there. The jobs are there. You have to be willing to train. You have to be willing to adjust. You have to be willing to be flexible, and nothing is ever so constant as change. And that's even in medicine. I mean, we've had to reorganize our whole way of thinking in the past 50 to 100 years. I mean, things have changed so much, Ken, that it's just not possible to not be flexible if you want to survive.
You have to change with the times. Yeah, you got to stay up with the technology.
You got to stay up, and by the way, what's happening with our Stan guy in the Mr. Green Thumb? Is he going off air?
Yeah, he's going back into retirement, I guess.
Oh, well, that's too bad. At any rate, I enjoy listening to some of his show. And he said something that was interesting. He said, plant more trees so that we can eat up more carbon dioxide and create more oxygen. Did you know, Ken, that a well-manicured lawn will produce more oxygen and eat up more carbon dioxide than a tree in your yard?
Didn't know that. Not my lawn.
No, if it's well manicured.
Well, okay, let's
well
be
manicured.
here, yes.
Get those two words. But it's interesting because if you think about it, and I read the study years ago that showed this, and they show it by the amount of nitrogen that's being taken out of the soil, because nitrogen is as you know, one of the things that plants need to grow. So that's one of the big parts of fertilizer, of your dung, your poop that your cow
right.
Poop on there. So they actually measured it by acreage, and a well-manicured lawn. And you think about it, and I thought, how can that be? Then you think about it. Think about the surface area of a well-manicured lawn, of the blades of grass, the massive amount of area that is exposed to the sun and has the ability to photosynthesize and take carbon dioxide and spit out and exhale oxygen. So
and then add that a whole neighborhood of lawns.
Yeah, and trees are nice. I love trees. I'll hug one every day just to make sure they understand I'm not mad at them, and then I cut them down. Well, they're in my way, damn it.
Well,
they're dropping leaves all over the place.
That I don't like about them. That's
no, we can't have that. That's
they foul up the gutters.
So then we have all this problem of what are we going to do with the carbon dioxide? Well, we can stop creating it by just going nuclear. Come on. Oh, come on. I mean, this is just ridiculous. What are we waiting for? And
I don't know.
People say, well, it'll take 20 or 30 years to build one plant. Now you just build a bunch of like those little jet engines I was telling you about. You can build the mini plants that'll feed a city of 50,000. If you have a city of 500,000, you got you got 10 of them, and or you build a couple of bigger ones, and the containment housing's a lot smaller, and the amount of waste that you have to deal with is a lot smaller, and the upkeep is easier. You know, you change the rotors, you change the axle, you do a few things here and there over the years, but nobody listens to me, Ken.
Well, I think they are going to start. To tell you the truth, I think we are finally getting by that whole nuclear, ick kind of feeling.
By the way, you see you're looking at the video. You see the Fukushima plant behind me there.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah, yeah. So we're going to be taking the bullet train we're leaving on vacation Friday. By the way, I don't think I'll be able to do the show on Sunday next week because of the time difference, and I don't know when we're going to actually get into the hotel, but if I can do it, I will, but if I can't, I won't.
Well, we'll have a best of show ready for you.
All right. So at any rate, so then we take the bullet train from Hokkaido, which is the northernmost island and the northernmost prefecture, and we take that bullet train down to Tokyo, and we go right by the Fukushima plant. So I'm going to wave when I go by.
Well, don't get out and collect any souvenirs there.
Don't pick up any soil.
Not there. No.
No. So are you concerned about these hypersonic weapons?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I'm concerned we don't have one. At least not one that's tested and ready to go. But they are being shot down apparently in Ukraine by Patriot missiles.
Yes, they are. And
so I'm not as concerned as I was a year ago.
And also, I want to go over some of this because I think there's some hysteria, and maybe this is partly created to push us to arm, just like Thermisthenes did 2,500 years ago when he said some little island was going to attack Athens and we have to build up our navy. But the real threat was the Persians, or were the Persians, and they ended up building a 300 or 400 armada fleet, and the Persians came with 1,000 ships. 1,000 ships. Can you believe that?
That's a lot
at that time. And I mean, yeah, they weren't as big as our ships, but and the Athenians, the Greeks won. They defeated them. And so some of this is a way of preparing people for a potential war. And you say, well, war is a bad thing. I don't want war. I don't want to see people killed. I'm not going to be able to stop war completely, not in my lifetime. Now, maybe in your lifetime, because you'll live much longer than me.
No, not likely. I think war is just instinctive in us these days.
I think without conflict, there's no growth. That's the bottom line. And unfortunately, when you got men and you got testosterone, you've got conflict. I mean, you put 3 doctors in a room and give them one topic to come out with a consensus on, and they'll come out with 5 different opinions. That's just the nature of the beast. So
I don't think it can never be avoided totally. I don't think.
Maybe we'll evolve past that, but I don't know. But at any rate, here's the thing, Ken. Look, you're shooting something that's moving at 20,000 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's pretty fast.
Yes, it is.
In the atmosphere. And what's it moving through? It's not moving through a void. It's moving through soup. It's moving through oxygen and nitrogen and water vapor and particles of dust and whatever else is floating around. So you're talking about 5.55 miles per second. So that means that I could go from my desk here to my office in a second. And
it's generating a lot of heat, I would imagine. On that,
it's generating a lot of heat. So what happens when you generate that high of a temperature? You get up to about 4,000 or 5,000 degrees Kelvin. First, you have to have a skin that can survive that. You have to have some, and that it won't burn the vehicle up. So it's pretty high tech stuff. We put the ceramic tiles on the space shuttle so that we could bring it back in without burning up. And you have to figure out some way to do this. And I don't know if we have developed it, but we supposedly have not released it. Apparently the Chinese may have gotten it.
I was reading an article about a year ago, must have been now, that about supersonic, these weapons, and the fact that they get so hot on the nose that, like when you see, for instance, when we had the Apollo returns, from the moon. And any spacecraft, you can't talk to these people inside because you have a plasma bubble that forms on the tip of the spacecraft. So it's covered in plasma. You can't get the radio signals through. They say the same thing happens to these supersonic missiles. You'll get plasma on the cone, and it has to slow down before it can turn on its radar and find the ship or whatever it is he's trying to find. So that's when they're vulnerable.
And the plasma, as we've explained before on the show, is when you take a substance, an atomic substance like oxygen or nitrogen, and you heat it up to 5,000 degrees Kelvin or whatever, the electrons dissociate from the nuclei of the atoms, and so you have this. It's a pool of plasma, and this is what the sailors would call St. Elmo's fire. They would see these plasma balls develop in the atmosphere during a thunderstorm because of the intense heat, and they didn't last very long. By the way, that's probably a lot of the quote unidentified flying objects that are being seen as just plasma balls coming through the atmosphere. At any rate, you get this plasma and nothing can get through, and plus it's very corrosive. I mean, I've been working on my plasma weapon in the garage now for a while.
How's that coming? Yeah,
it's coming well. I think I'm going to take out Moscow next week.
Yeah, the lasers working all right. You got the lasers working now and everything.
I got the lasers. I'm still trying to negotiate with Duke Energy to give me a couple of million more kilowatts of power. But something about putting a step-up generator here that's the size of a football field, and the neighbors aren't for that.
Well,
what do you?
They can be picky, those neighbors.
Yeah,
Ignore them.
Even the butt, aren't they?
So yeah, the plasma on the tip of this missile means it has to slow down so it can acquire its target with its radar.
That's one thing. The plasma is a real difficult problem to overcome when you're moving at 20,000 miles an hour through a soup like this. That's a big problem. The next problem is, what about an error in your trajectory? Did you know that if you're off 1 degree going around the equator, you will be 500 miles off course when you get back around? 500 miles. So the distance from Xi'an, China to Tampa, Florida, and Xi'an's in the north central part of China. I figure they probably have some nuclears up there somewhere. Looked like fertile area for that. Is about 8,069 miles. So we'll say 8,000 miles. So you divide 25 by 8, and it's about a third. So, a third of 500 is going to be 160 miles. So 1 degree off, and you're off by 160 miles. So let's say you're shooting for the base over in Tampa. 160 miles, you're going to be out in the Atlantic. You're not even going to get there. And so this is, I think there's a lot of hype, and it's meant to scare us from the Russians and the Chinese, but also I think it's a way of our government and our planners to say we got to get ready, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with getting ready. And you think about a ballistic intercontinental ballistic missile, it goes a lot faster than that once it gets outside of the atmosphere. But the problem with that is that the trajectory, it's fairly predictable, and you can shoot it down sooner, if not later. But still, it's not going to be easy. I mean, we're still.
You are still hitting a bullet with a bullet. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're still hitting a bullet with a bullet, and you have to be a pretty damn good shot to do that. And although I don't know if I am anymore, getting older and a little shaky, but in my youth, I probably could have hit it if I had known that the ICBM was coming in with my 22.
You got take it out with your 22, right?
With my 22 or my pellet gun, even. But,
well, I am hopeful. Now, once I heard a Patriot was able to take it out, I knew we were in probably pretty good shape.
So you've got a number of problems. You've got drag.
Right.
You've got the production of plasma. You've got the problem with being off by even 1/10 of a degree. You're going to miss your target moving at that speed over those distances. And you say, well, what is a degree? Well, you take a circle, and the circle is divided into 360 degrees. So 1 degree is one little piece of a circle. And, you're talking about a pretty small thing. Now, if you spread it out over the whole surface of the earth, it's a little bit more that you have to be off. But when you're moving at 20,000 miles an hour, a hiccup and that thing's going to be off. It bumps into a piece of space rock and it's going to be off. So I'm not that worried about it. And I don't want people to get too panicked over it. But I'll let you know how my plasma weapon works.
Well, I hear they're much better at taking out buildings than ships because they can't deal with the moving ship. They're pre-programmed to hit a target.
Yeah, and you also have to remember that when you create that high of a velocity through a medium, that the shock waves, the sound waves, are going to become a problem and interfere with the ship too. So you're going to have to design something that can stay stable as it moves through its own shock wave. It's pushing a wave in front of it, Ken.
That's true. Yeah.
And so there's just a whole number of things that we have to think about and realize that it's not there yet. And I'm not that worried about hypersonic missiles coming from Russia. Hell, I'm not worried about anything coming from Russia. Maybe Olga, she might scare me.
What about China? They have these too, though.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling theirs may work a little better than Russia's.
Who knows? I mean, still they have all the same things to overcome. And
they do, yes. And so do we.
We tried these back in the early 2000s, and Reagan suggested these back in the 1980s that we create some hypersonic weaponry. And, it was looked at and it was considered feasible, but not practical or too expensive or not necessary. And we'll see. And that may be the fact here. We may be better off working on things like laser weapons, stealthier planes. And
I'm all for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
We're getting pretty close on these lasers. They're getting pretty close to putting them on ships. And I think maybe some have been already deployed. I don't know, but they're getting much closer.
And our drones and our unarmed weaponry. I mean, that's where we need to go.
Yeah.
And there you go. See, you already have to have somebody sitting there working the computer. So we're back to, will the computers put us out of work? No, they'll make more work. I love it. Did you hear about the cyber attack out in Las Vegas?
I have not heard about this. Who'd they take out?
They took out the Bellagio and about 5 or 6 casinos that are owned by MGM. They attacked MGM, and everything went down for a day. And people were standing in lines for 2 hours to check in, and clipboards were out, and they had workers taking names and getting them to their rooms, and elevators stopped. Of course, the electronic gizmos like the slot machines, they all went down. And I don't know how much money they lost, but I think they're back on track now. But they had to get everybody. I mean, everybody was out in the lobby, all the workers, the kitchen guys, everybody out there trying to get things organized because you had tens of thousands of people coming in for conventions and vacations. And, they had hand washing stations that were, of course, overwhelmed because all the women were fighting each other to get there first. And the casino was in an uproar. So the blackjack table was still open, though.
Well, you see, if you're a casino, there's a lesson for you. Make sure if you have a hacker in the house that he wins.
Yeah, don't get him mad.
Don't get him angry. He'll go back to the room and take the whole place down.
So yeah, buffet workers were even out there writing down credit card numbers. And
oh man, they went back to the 70s, didn't they?
Yeah, all parking was free. And of course the ATMs were down inside the hotel, so you couldn't get money. So you had to go to the bank, 2 miles away. And it was an extended exercise in patience, according to one source. And I can believe that.
This is the casino's worst nightmare. The ATM machines are down. Oh no.
Oh my God. What will we have to do?
Well, we're going to take a break here. First, a question, though, Doc.
We got to have a question, Ken.
Yeah.
We need a question.
This is for two Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mugs, be delivered via the mailman to your house. Phone number to call is 877-969-8600. That's 877-969-8600. If you're the first to answer this question, you will be our winner. And the question is, where's Doc going on his vacation? We touched about it at the beginning of the show. If you know what country Doc is going on his vacation, then give us a call right now, 877-969-8600. The first caller will win. Ain't that right, Doc?
That's right. And by the way, our winner last week, I think it was Bobby. Was it Bobby? I can't remember.
Could have been.
I don't think I have the right address, Bobby. So if you could give Ken a call, it's probably not your fault. Ken's, half deaf and going blind too.
The buttons are very small. The fingers are very big. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's my problem too. I'm trying to put together a computer and I'm getting my fingers stuck in between the memory chips. I
can't text for any. I can't text anybody because I keep making so many mistakes. They don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. All right,
So
we'll be back.
back.
I'm Dr. Bill, and I'm at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Bobby, if you want to call the office Monday and give the information to my girls, that'll work too. But try Ken first. We'll see if we can figure it out. I'll be right back. I'm Dr. Bill.
Here's the latest from the Answer News Center.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on his way home from Russia at the end of a 6-day trip that triggered global concerns about weapons transfer deals between two countries locked in separate standoffs with the West. Kim began his journey back to North Korea early today aboard his armored train following a farewell ceremony at a Russian train station. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton back in office after winning acquittal on impeachment charges over accusations of corruption and bribery. But the verdict is inflaming rifts within the Texas GOP that surrounded his impeachment in the first place. Conservative allies of the AG say they'll target Republican legislators who investigated him in the first place. And an armed man accused of impersonating a federal officer was taken into custody outside of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s campaign event in Los Angeles Friday. This is SRN News.
AM 860, The Answer. Listen on our website, theanswertampa.com, 93.7 FM, W229DJ, and by downloading the Answer Tampa app or on TuneIn or Odyssey.
Dr. Bill for Bay Area Medical, located at 6399 38th Avenue North in St. Pete, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Full service clinic with x-ray, heart imaging, ultrasound, stress testing, and minor surgery. We provide quality health care in a warm and friendly atmosphere. We are multilingual, well-trained, and certified. Most American insurance and new patients accepted. Bay Area Medical, home of Can Care, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411.
Dr. Bill here. With social distancing and sheltering in place, telemedicine is here. Bay Area Medical Home of Can Care Clinic offers telemedicine for new and established patients. You can see me without an in-office visit. Schedule an appointment at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. When it's time for your appointment, type this web address into your cell phone or computer web browser, doxy.me/Bay Area Med. A cell phone works well and is all you really need. For computers, you need a web camera and speakers. We'll give you this address when you call for your appointment. We accept most insurances and travel insurances. Canadians and visitors, please call your travel insurance company for an authorization number prior to the visit. Copays and deductibles apply. Self-pay rates are available. Just ask. We accept credit cards, PayPal, and Stripe. 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411.
Dr. Bill here. My friends at St. Pete MRI and Sleep Diagnostics are your best choice for state-of-the-art MRI, CT, and sleep studies. Quality unsurpassed. 25 years experience makes St. Pete MRI my go-to imaging center. Self-pay rates are competitive and out-of-pocket cost a fraction of a hospital. Conveniently accessible from both sides of the bay at 750 94th Avenue North, St. Pete, near the Gandy, 727-577-2220, 727-577-2220.
The latest from AccuWeather at the top and bottom of the hour, only on AM 860, The Answer.
Intervals of clouds and sun today with widely separated thunderstorms. It'll be humid with a high of 89. Patchy clouds tonight, a thunderstorm in a couple of spots, low 79. Clouds and sun tomorrow with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, mainly later. Tomorrow's high 93. Get your weather news when and how you want it, wherever you are. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Drew Shannon for AM 860, The Answer.
And I'm back. This is Dr. Bill. You there, Ken?
I sure am.
All right. By the way, I wanted to tell you that back in 2012, the Pentagon did test a hypersonic vehicle over the Pacific, and it was launched from a Minotaur 4 rocket in the upper atmosphere. So I think we probably may be further along than we are willing to admit, as we often do. I mean, the art of war is deception.
Well, yeah, it's always silly really to tell your potential enemy what powers you have and don't have.
And did you see where Mitt Romney is not going to run? Thank God.
Yeah, I heard he's going back into business, I guess.
He's just a freaking carpetbagger anyway.
How many terms did he have in there? 2, I guess.
No, this was just a one term.
Just his first term. Okay.
Yeah, his dad was governor of Michigan and a businessman, and of course he was governor of Massachusetts, and then decided that he wanted to be in the Senate because he didn't make it in the presidential race. He's really not one of us. He moved out to Utah because he is a Mormon and he thought he could get some traction there, and apparently he did. But
well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying I won't miss him.
No, I won't miss him either. He called Trump a demagogue. He hates Trump.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't take being criticized very well. This guy's rich. I mean, he is rich. He's got homes all over the country. Dang.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's got no problem. He'll be all right.
He'll be all right. He's going to be fine. And so, and then he turned words on Sleepy Joe, who said when he was running that Joe said this, that he was a transitional figure to the next generation. Romney says, well, time to transition. I love it. And of course, Jean-Pierre, she got all upset and ranted and raved and didn't like that.
Of course.
And hurt her little feelings.
Well, I'll tell you whose feelings have not been hurt today.
Who?
Robert Pryor. Robert Pryor.
Did he come before? Oh, no, that's another Pryor.
This is Robert Pryor, St. Petersburg. He's probably feeling pretty good right now because he just won himself 2 Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mugs. Because he had the correct answer to today's question. Today's question was, where's Doc going on vacation next week? The correct answer is, Doc?
Japan.
Japan, that's right. Congratulations.
Japan, here we come.
Congratulations to Robert and to the others who called in. Didn't have the right answer, but we thank you for calling in anyway.
Yes, and Robert, we just love having you on the show, and we love everybody on the show. This is just fun, and we have a good time, and we appreciate the support we get from the folks in the Tampa Bay area and from people I'm sure outside of the area who watch us on Zoom, and on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, and I don't know where else it's going. We'll figure it out. Hey, we're getting better at this though, Ken. We're getting
that's
better.
Good. You're spreading out.
And you're doing well learning how to use Zoom.
Thank you. I'm trying.
You're doing a good job.
Computers hate me. They really do.
No.
And I married an IT specialist.
Well, why don't you bring her on the show on Sunday? Let her run things.
She would do very well. Well, I don't think she wants to be on the air. She probably could help off the air though.
Yeah, well, she doesn't have to be seen.
Well,
tell her we'll throw her a couple of bucks.
I once put her on the air one night. About 2 a.m. We were coming back. I was coming back with my program director from a casino, and we thought it would be fun to put Deborah on the air, so we did. And she said, "For tonight, sunny skies." and that was the last time she wanted to go on the air.
And it's in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it was the middle of the night, 2:00 a.m. That's right. For tonight, sunny skies. Well, what are you going to do?
So this Ohio murder suspect, he flees the state of Ohio. He steals a van and drives down to Georgia, down to Fayette County, which is one of the counties south of Atlanta. and he goes to a fairly well-to-do neighborhood and he breaks into somebody's house. Well, guess who's standing there with a rifle? The owner.
I'll bet.
So he's on his way back after he faces charges in Georgia. Then he's on his way back to Ohio for murder charges.
Well, picked the wrong house today, guy.
He doesn't look like a very nice man. He doesn't look very happy, but
well, you know, most murderers don't.
Yeah.
So what else is going on? What's going on in Ukraine? Anything happening there? I guess they've got at least some portion of that first line of defense of the Russians out of the way, and they're moving toward the second line.
They broke through at one point, and of course the Russians are not saying much, which means they're probably losing. And when they take territory, they'll let you know. But when they're given back, they're not saying anything. And
I guess they took out the Ukrainians took out a submarine, or at least damaged it pretty severely. Which was impressive.
Get all their nuclear submarines and take them out.
I'm not sure if this one was nuclear, but it was in dry dock, so it's not going anywhere for a while.
There you go. Why would they have a nuclear sub in the Black Sea? I don't know. I mean, are they going to nuke Europe or what?
No, they're firing cruise missiles from it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not for a while.
Conventional weapons are down for the moment.
That's right.
Well, the problem here is that the Europeans are actually contributing, but the anti-involvement in European war group in the United States is saying we're carrying too much of the burden. But if you look at the reality of the situation there, that's just not true, because the Europeans are supplying them things other than money. And so there's two sides to that coin, so to speak. And I think the real question mark is, what will Germany do? And have they been lackluster in their response? Certainly the Baltics and the Poles and the Swedes and the Finns, they're very concerned, because they're right there at the border.
Well, they're on the front line.
Yeah, they're on the front lines. And I don't know what Belarus is going to do there. Of course, they don't want to get Putin mad at him, or he might kill their president, who doesn't want to die, apparently. So,
well, he's got an election coming up, I guess, next year. Putin.
Yeah, but I mean, that's all fixed.
Well, it may be fixed against him. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, that's
the Politburo, all those guys. He may be time. They may convince him that it's time to step down, or we're just going to put somebody else in there.
Did you see him and Kim Jong-un standing together? I didn't realize. I mean, Kim Jong-un's what, 4 feet tall, and
yeah,
and Putin was maybe an inch taller than that. He's a little guy. He's a shrimpy little guy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's not very big, and Kim Jong-un's chunked up nicely, but Putin's kept his boyish figure. So
did he have his shirt on, or did he have the shirt off?
He had it on for that.
Okay. All right.
In a formal meeting, he actually had on a tie, and he looked nice, for a thug.
I guess they were talking about his feet doing some weird things during these meetings. It was shaking, and they kept shaking his feet. One of his left foot, I think it was, kept shaking, and you could see him.
God.
You could see him trying to stop it.
He caught Biden's Parkinson's disease.
I guess so. Anyway,
at any rate, so
that's what's going on over there.
Yeah. So now we've got the big thing is the fight within the Republican candidates, the primary candidates, as to whether or not to take the new COVID vaccine. And like I told you last week, our state surgeon general said no, he wasn't sure about it, and we shouldn't let Floridians be guinea pigs for this. And then I guess DeSantis. Well, of course, the Washington Post made it sound like DeSantis was anti-vaccines. DeSantis said for people under 65, he doesn't recommend it right now because we don't know if it's necessary, and we don't know if there are side effects that are going to come out of this. And
well, that's the same thing you pretty much said. Under 65, you really don't need it.
At this point, it's probably optional. We'll see how egregious this is. and wait and see what the CDC has to say. I may have to argue with them and get kicked off of Facebook and YouTube again. But in the meantime, we will continue to speak the truth here and guide you through this. Now, I'm going to take it, Ken, and you are too. I'm going to.
What, we're both over. You're sort of over 65.
Yeah, and when you're chronically ill because you smoke and you can't hear or see, and how do you do radio? That's what everybody wants to know.
Headphones up really loud, and you can do radio.
And now we know why the board is so confusing for you. You can't see colors. Joe is our main ramrod over at the station, and he's color coded all the buttons for Ken on the.
we got to get some ADA help in here, you know.
Yeah. Any rate, I say that the side effects, the percentage of people who get myocarditis or have some serious deleterious effect from the vaccine is much smaller than people who actually get the virus and have the disease and get this quote long COVID, which we talked about last week, which is not the virus, it's your autoimmune system's overreaction to it. But you may be predisposed, you may have some autoimmune problem that would have come to light later anyway, like rheumatoid arthritis or lupus or pulmonary fibrosis, idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. There's a whole bunch of diseases. And the immune system is very finicky, it's very finicky. The little lymphocytes are smart little cells, but like anything smart, they can get confused. So
complicated body we have, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we think it's this one really homogeneous, everybody gets along and works together environment. And most of the organs don't know what any other organ is doing, and they don't really care,
Yeah. My job is to keep on beating. That's all I know.
Yeah. All I'm supposed to do is pump, or all I'm supposed to do is pee out waste.
That's right.
And, that's a fact. And the lymphocytes, their job is to protect against invaders. And it's like friendly fire that happens. It happens. You have friendly fire. So you can be in the front lines and you can be defending your country, and
your body attacks yourself.
Yeah, and you call it an artillery strike on the enemy who's only 50 yards away, and the shell falls a little short. Whoops. The same with the lymphocytes.
Okay.
So anyway, now there's some research out. I don't know how valid it is, that the virus actually can cause long-term damage to cells, to the energy production of these cells, the little mitochondria, which are like little cells within the cell that have little factories that make the energy that we need to drive all of our other functions. So we don't know if this is real or not because it's being looked at in rats, and it's still in the research phase. I don't think it's anything that's going to alter humanity, but it may be adding to some of this quote long COVID, which may also be an autoimmune response within the cell, because even inside the cell there are antigen antibody reactions. So it's not just in the bloodstream or in the tissues, Ken. This is a problem we have to think about and look at. But in the interim, the take-home message is, if you're concerned, get the hypo, get the needle, get the shot, get the vaccine.
Well, I'll probably over the office. I'll get over to the office, get one of these things.
Yeah, I got to get back online and order some more from the state. And
what about the regular flu shot this year?
Oh, the regular flu shot, we've been giving it out like crazy. That stuff's going like water. That's hotcakes, baby.
Is it worth it?
Yeah, it's a live attenuated. It's a quadrivalent. So there's 4 different strains, 2 strains of A, 2 strains of B. And, they use the H and the N designation to give the capsular strains their different designations or different names. And so how the flu virus vaccine works is, we guess, well, not me personally, but the guys at the researchers at the CDC and NIH and around the country and the world, everybody gets together and they guess at what strains are going to be prevalent this fall, this winter. And then they start making the vaccine back in the spring and summer. You know, they can see from the research done on epidemics how these things spread around, and they say, well, look, there's a pocket of this here. Looks like that's going to be the thing that's going to come around, and then we make the vaccines. They're probably about 75 to 80% on target. So about 20% of the time, we miss the strain, but we're pretty good about it. And 80% is better than nothing, way better than nothing. It's like the mask, you know, it's like the double ply cotton mask to block the transmission of the COVID virus. It's about 80% effective if you wear it right, Ken.
And it's better than nothing.
And it's better than nothing. It's better than hell, a t-shirt, you know, doubled, tripled, quadrupled over, wrapped around your face is better than nothing. Especially if you're the carrier of the virus, because that'll cut down on you transmitting it to me.
Right.
And of course we care about you, but not as much as we care about me. So, oh my God, people.
What will come? Will come again? Well, there must be at some point. I would think that COVID will be included in this shot, or not.
The manufacturing process is different. You got to remember that the Pfizer Moderna vaccine, which is the vaccine that we use in the United States and is really the most effective, is an mRNA, a messenger RNA vaccine. So that is produced by cells by putting certain genetic information into those cells so that they will make this mRNA that we can then harvest. So it's a whole different process, whereas the flu vaccine is generally the actual flu virus that's live inactivated. So you take this virus and you grow it, and then you run it through formalin or whatever, and you inactivate it. You basically make it so it can't reproduce, and then you shoot that into the body. So there are two different vehicles that you have to use to preserve these. There's two different, I mean, there may be a time when you can mix them, but I mean, if you're a weenie and you only want one shot, I would say if you're under 65, get the flu. If you're over 65, don't be a weenie. Get them.
You have two arms, take two shots.
Yeah, come on, grow up. And you can get them at the same time, Ken. You don't have to come back 2 weeks later or anything like that.
What's the side effects, if any?
What, the flu or the
flu one? Yeah, the new flu one.
Well, the flu, you know, your arm will get a little bit sore.
Oh yeah,
people will have a reaction to it. Rarely you're going to have the same kind of side effects that you have with the COVID vaccine, where you can have myocardial inflammation, you can have a Guillain-Barré syndrome, but those are very rare. We did see the Guillain-Barré with the swine flu vaccine back in the 70s, but the number of cases were really small, but they were dramatic. And I took care of one of those folks. Usually you recover, but it may take months to recover. You can be completely paralyzed in the meantime.
Whoa.
So, but that's so rare. It's just not worth worrying about. I mean, you're more likely going to get run over like this guy, did you see where this guy got ran over? He was riding his bike. He was a retired head of the police department in one of the cities out there in Las Vegas. And a couple of teenagers intentionally ran him over and killed him.
Oh, man.
So, I mean, you run the risk when you walk out of your house of getting run over. Let's face it. And that risk is probably much higher than having an adverse reaction from a vaccine. So,
sure, there's a better chance you're going to slip and fall in your bathroom and knock yourself out on the toilet, you know?
Oh, yeah, much better. And that's just the reality of the situation. And that's why I tell my older patients, including me, don't use a ladder. Don't climb up on ladders. The orthopods love them, you know, because they break hips and elbows. But if you have to go up and do something, it would be better to get one of these ultra safe wide platform step stools. You know what I'm talking about? The little 3-steppers.
Yeah, sure.
Those are safer. And if you really have to go up high, just go rent some scaffolding, have somebody put it up for you, and you can go up on that. That's much, much safer than being on a ladder. Ladders are just so dangerous. We had a guy out here at the townhouses looking at the roofs, and he was going up 30, 35 feet on the ladder. And in the old days, I would have gone up there with him and I said, I'm sorry, you're on your own, bud.
Yeah, those lean-tos, I never have felt comfortable on them.
They're dangerous.
They are.
They are. Look, if you do this every day for a living, like this guy does, it's different because he's used to it. But for old farts like me and you who don't do it every day, Ken.
Well, I finally went out and bought myself a 6-foot, what do you call them? You just said it a second ago.
Step ladder?
Not a step ladder, the scaffolding, little 6-foot scaffolding.
Oh yeah, the scaffolding. And you can get that. We've got a little piece in here and it's narrow. You can roll it into the house and change light bulbs and AC filters and all that. And that's the way to go. And I think they cost what, $150, $200.
Yeah, it's nothing at all. And it makes painting the ceiling much safer, much easier, actually. Things like that.
So in China, guess what they're doing over there? A completely different approach to lowering healthcare costs. They've arrested hospital administrators for corruption. They've got 200 hospitals they've closed down. That'll cut down on expenses.
Yeah. I like China when they do things like that. Remember the big to-do we were all having when the calendar was going to change to 2000, and everybody's saying all the computers are going to stop working because they can't deal with the 2000. Remember that?
Oh, yes, I do. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, the Chinese sent the head of their aeronautic division up into the air at midnight after he declared it safe. So they said, what's safe? Okay, we want you in the air at midnight when it all changes. He said, okay, no problem. And he went up and everything was fine, obviously. But
well, they had champagne and caviar on board. Yeah,
I'm sure they did. Yeah. But it was, I like the way they do business over there sometimes when they make people responsible.
So with the gas prices going up, is that putting a pinch in your budget? I mean, you really don't travel that far, do you?
I travel 70 miles a day.
Really?
From Sun City to here, yeah. So yeah, I'm not electric car. I'm not in the electric car mode yet because I travel too far every day.
And here's the thing, Ken, you're not just talking about gas, you're talking about diesel. And trucks carry a large proportion of our goods that are delivered to our stores and our car dealers and everywhere else. And this is a big deal. This is a big deal, and it's going to hurt more the little guy than the big guy, but it hurts everybody, as you know.
Doc, we have about 45 seconds left. You want to give the office address, phone number, and all that?
I do, and we are at 6399 38th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. We are accepting new patients, and the phone number is 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. And by the way, we're morphing away from DoxyMe to Zoom for our telemedicine calls. I'm going to have a new ad out for that. But the Zoom link we will send you takes a little bit extra time if you don't have Zoom on your cell phone to download it, but it's not that hard. Basically the same thing. I am Dr. Bill, your radio MD, and I'm with Ken, and we've been having fun today, buddy.
Say goodbye, Doc.
Bye, Doc.
Thank you for listening to Dr. Bill, your radio MD. Join Dr. Bill every Sunday morning at 9 for more insight, information, provocation, and fun. Dr. Bill Handelman practices in St. Petersburg, Florida at Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic, 6399 38th Avenue North. For your convenience, telemedicine appointments are available. Call his office today at 727-384-6411. That's 727-384-6411. Or visit his website at cancareclinic.com.